What's going on, guilty guys and gals?
Today we're here to refute the accusations. I don't know. We were the only two people up on that roof deck, dead or alive. I can swear to that.
I don't know if I've commented on it yet, but Bruce Fairplay's crazy facial hair situation is just... it drives me for a loop, alright? If anything had happened while we were sitting, don't you think one or the other would have noticed?
In any case, neither of us knew the first thing about the victim, and there had no reason to kill the man.
The skylight was shut the entire time, I tell you! We couldn't have possibly opened it.
If you're so sure the victim fell through the skylight, where's your proof?
Alright.
I must say that on listening to this testimony, it is somewhat hard to imagine how either witness could have performed any malevolent act on the open roof deck, without the other noticing forthwith.
That's right. You see?
Well, innocent, I tell you. Although logically, of course, the argument falls down if the two of you were in collusion with each other.
What?
Aye!
According to investigations by Scotland Yard, the two witnesses share no common dealings.
Well, we don't trust coppers any more than I trust the stinkin' rich. This guy. We like this guy.
Something doesn't feel right here.
The trial is going in our favor, really. So, why do I feel so uneasy?
Counsel for the defense, over to you. Your cross-examination, please.
Oh, yes, my lord. Okay, here we go.
Oi.
This is like my, Fairplay has my, like, very British, like, stereotypical sort of British voice where I'm doing nothing to it. This is just how I do it.
Oh, yeah, we were the only two people up on that there roof deck.
You know? Press. So, at no time did the victim, Mr. Mason, climb up to join you on the roof deck?
Absolutely not, Dickin.
Dickin? No question about it, he said. None at all. Oh, but yes, of course. I remember seeing them both. I saw the victim inside the enclosed cabin, talking to this man here. I like the pointing. It's funny.
Is that true, Mr. McGilded?
Dear me, my lord. At the risk of repeating myself, I boarded the omnibus alone and nodded off inside almost immediately.
That's an outright lie. Without doubt you were engaged in...
Let me stop you there, fellow, and ask, do you have any evidence at all? At all?
Ugh.
'Tis all about evidence in the courts these days, so it is. You do well to remember that.
Ugh. I saw you with my own eyes.
This is going so well.
If anything happened where we were sitting, don't you think one or the other of us would have noticed?
Well, it was on the final run of the omnibus, at past 10 o'clock in the evening. It would certainly have been quite dark, perhaps too dark to see clearly.
Is this some kind of lark?
Is this some kind of joke, he said? Is that what it is?
Or perhaps one or the other of you fell asleep briefly?
Are you fair dinkum, sir?
Are you serious, sir? That's what he said. It's impossible, I tell you.
Thanks for translating, Hatman.
I'd give you the keys to the vault if I could fall asleep in that bitter cold. And if you did manage it, your eyelids would freeze shut and you'd never open them again.
That's extreme.
It was extreme, I tell you. And we had to put up with it because this man locked the door. Any true gent would have unlocked it and let me in when I knocked.
I'm dreadfully sorry about that, young fella. But, you see, I was away with the feathers. Didn't hear ye at all. Ye?
That's a lie. I saw you through the glass. You were talking to someone.
I like how, like, animated this man has become. And he's just sitting there like, I don't know.
Now, 'twas a cold night, so it was. People do be seeing things that aren't real in the cold.
'Tis hardly surprising. Seeing things? Seeing things?
Please stop arguing. I believe we've reached an impasse here on this particular point.
Ah, you.
Don't take it personally now, lad. If I'm a suspect in this case, then 'tis only fair that you and the other fiend are too. Open and free competition is what a capitalist society's all about.
This isn't a competition I'd like to be involved in, really.
In any case,
So, you'd never met Mr. Thrice-Fired Mason before? That's hard to say.
oh lummy, no, not once, never.
He never met the man before, he said. Never.
And you, Mr. First, had no prior dealings with the victim either?
That's right, sir. Hatters don't have much to do with brickmakers, to be perfectly honest, sir.
No, I imagine not.
You see, how many different ways can I put this? Neither of us have the remotest connection to the gentleman inside the cabin.
Okay. I don't like his evil smirk. It makes me feel, uneasy. Okay. Mr. McGilded?
Yes, counsel. What can I be doing you for?
Did the witness's last statement give you pause for thought somehow?
Not the remotest connection. Is that right now, I wonder?
What are you insinuating now?
Ah, Mr. Fairplay, 'tas been too long, so it has.
Eh?
If I'm not very much mistaken, I believe 'tis fast approaching now, is it not? Your repayment date?
Oh, I beg your pardon?
You borrowed 20 guineas from me, sir.
At an unconscionable rate of interest. You tricked me. It's extortion.
Well, now, is that a touch of begrudgery, is it? That sort of begrudgery that might motivate a fella to pass off his crimes onto another?
Ugh.
We've already been over that, though.
And young Mr. First.
Me, sir? What do you want with me, sir?
You do be making hats for a living, do you now? And that there top hat sliding about your head, is that one of your own creations, is he?
Oh, well, I'm still just an apprentice, you understand? I'm learning to find the perfect fit for whatever fine gent walks through the door.
Perfect fit, is it? Well, 'tis a very distinctive design, so it is.
Many customers like it, I tell you. They like the distinctive touch.
Customers? Such as Thrice-Fired Mason?
Huh?
There was a photographic print of the victim submitted as evidence afore, my lord.
Oh, this you mean?
He does have a strange-looking hat, but,
I can't help thinking that the poor fellow's hat looks distinctly, familiar, wouldn't you say?
No. That's one of my hats.
Aye, that it is. So it seemed to be me, the brickmaker, was a customer of yours. The sort of customer, I'd wager, you could have had a wee quarrel with over the distinctiveness of the goods.
No, sir. Absolutely not, sir.
Well, there's really nothing more to add. It wouldn't be right to say that the two fellas here haven't the remotest connection to the victim, you see. I rest my case.
You shouldn't say that in a court of law. They could take it seriously and, you little weasel. Ah!
he's better at this than I am.
Gosh, Mr. McGilded has certainly been thorough in his research, hasn't he?
Maybe a bit too thorough.
Please, don't let me
little interruption. I got an award? Why?
don't let me little interruption hold up the proceedings.
The skylight was shut the entire time, I tell you. We couldn't have possibly have opened it.
Oh, is this different now? Neither of us know the first thing about the victim. No. So was that just a funny statement? Was this the one that the skylight was shut the entire time until you couldn't possibly have opened it? No.
Are you quite certain about that? That the skylight was shut the entire time? I'm going to lose my block with you in a minute.
He's gonna lose his rag with you in a minute. That's what he said.
Take a look for yourself. Go on. You see? It's shut fast now, just like it was on that night.
So it is, of course. A fellow the size of Mr. Mason could literally break right through it still and all.
What?
Just looking at the size of the thing, you understand.
Oh, now you hold on a minute there, sir. The size of the thing means nothing. Not on its own. Let's consider the bigger picture here, shall we? Let's stop biting our cane, shall we?
I was riding the omnibus on another occasion when, well, I broke wind loudly. I shocked myself with it as it happens.
Thanks for telling the court.
This is an unexpected confession, Mr. First.
Oh, I just mean to say, well, the point is, I tried to open the skylight, you see. But, just my luck, I couldn't make it budge. The stench was terrible. Everyone was looking daggers at me, sir. I went red as a rogue, I did.
Are you expecting me to sentence you?
Oh, no, sir. The point is, the skylight can't be opened. I tried and tried when I was inside that cabin of shame.
Obviously you were trying from inside it, though. This is interesting.
Do you have something to say about that, Miss Lestrade? Miss Lestrade.
I don't remember her voice. Dang it.
It opens.
Huh?
The skylight. That's what we're talking about, right?
Stop. No, wait. Stop.
All them skylights open. Dead easy.
More easily than you can load that weapon?
That's a lie, I tell you. Otherwise, when I broke wind, You can't do it from inside, you mug. Look, a few weeks ago, I was up on the roof deck on one of them drags. And I had a great haul. I mean, I had purses coming out of me ears.
Miss Lestrade, this is not the forum to be eulogizing on the subject of your criminal activities.
Well, anyway, I had a bit of a scare. When I lifted the last bloke's purse, he got wise to me. All four of them surrounded me, so I couldn't hop off the bus and leg it. So what I did was use the skylight, opened the catch, and jumped right through.
What?
Yeah, catch for them skylights is on the top side, so I can't open them from the cabin.
The skylight opens from the roof deck?
Bailiff, climb up onto the roof of the omnibus at once and verify the witness's claims.
He jumps up there, falls through, and dies. The trial of the deadly bailiff. I didn't think it would slide. I thought it would flip up. Oh, my hat!
Oh, my hat!
We'll give him something like this. Just to differentiate from her.
See?
Order! 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 So, it appears that this street girl's statement is quite true.
I don't believe it. The skylight opens. And from the roof deck.
What, we did?
Mr. Naruhodo, this could be the clue we've been looking for.
Well, counsel for the defense, please continue with your cross-examination.
Yes, my lord. So, the skylight opens. Perhaps I should investigate it for myself.
I was trying to do that before, but you wouldn't let me. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum.
So the skylight was fastened shut before.
But now the catch has been undone, so we should be able to open it.
Oh, okay, so now we can, like, go inside and look. Yeah. I hate that they say that every single time. Okay. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Yes, it does open very wide, doesn't it? Wide enough to kick someone like you through, certainly, Mr. Naruhodo.
Why someone like me?
Ah,
What is it?
look, just here. Look at this.
That's... without question.
It's blood.
Why would there be a bloodstain there?
Surely, it can't be unrelated to the case, can it?
Nice. Bum 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 bum. Well, I guess this is the proof, so I can just present it. On the night in question, the victim was fatally stabbed in the stomach, and immediately afterwards, the victim's body was pushed through the skylight into the cabin below. Those are the facts, and the irrefutable proof remains clearly visible in the omnibus that stands before us today, in this very courtroom.
What? That's utter humbug. Ah, you can't possibly have any evidence.
No, you can't. I mean, we didn't do it, I tell you. It's impossible.
Irrefutable proof here in this courtroom.
Counsel,
My lord,
I believe everyone would appreciate a little clarification here, Maybe a bit less grandstanding.
I'm just copying that other guy.
Where exactly within the omnibus is this evidence to which you allude? You will point out what it is that proves the victim fell through the roof deck in the sky.
Oh, I wonder what it could be. Oh, shoot. I didn't mean to do this. Why can't I skip through it? I've already looked at it. I meant to present. I just pressed the A button. Why is it always like this? I don't like that she said, surely it's not unrelated, right?
By Jupiter! Is that
Why Jupiter?
blood? Ugh.
This bloodstain proves two things. Firstly, when the incident occurred, the skylight of the omnibus was open.
What?
And secondly, the victim was already bleeding when he fell through the opening.
Oh my.
And so it follows that Mr. McGilded, who was inside the enclosed cabin himself at the time, could not have possibly be guilty of this crime. Cannot possibly.
No! Order, order, order.
Whoa, he had his own hold it line? That's crazy. Okay.
But the blood could have been sprayed up there when the fellow was stabbed inside the cabin.
And only found its way to that one particular spot on the skylight? Sure, and that would be very convenient.
Ugh.
And let's keep in mind that the skylight catch can only be unfastened from the roof deck. I myself wouldn't have been able to open it now, would I?
But.
There's no way to know for certain, is there? If the gent really fell through the skylight, I mean. Why don't we have a good look at the floor of the cabin between the two seats, Mr. First? 'Tis all too plain, if you see. There's the aftermath that shows the poor fella dropped from a fair height right there, so it is.
What? No.
But it can't be. It's all lies.
Oh, this guy had his own hold it too.
My fellow jury members, I think we can all agree that this is clear proof of the defendant's innocence, can't we?
I believe we can, yes, sir. It's clear to me now where the filthy rubbish can be found in this courtroom. So, they thought they could pull the wool over my eyes, did they?
I won't tolerate any of the guild's cabbages being sullied with blood. I won't tolerate it.
Oh, I always knew that nice gentleman who gave us that delightful park couldn't have done such a thing.
On three then, everyone. 1, 2, 3.
You couldn't have said it before they reached 3.
Chilling performance, Mr. McGilded.
Oh, and what would you be referring to there now, Lord Van Zyx?
A bloodstain on the frame of the skylight. Such evidence is null and void.
What? Why?
For one extremely simple reason. That smear of blood never existed.
Okay.
What are you talking about? It's there for all to see. It's clearly blood.
I personally attended Scotland Yard's investigation of the omnibus. The officers involved went over the carriage with a fine-tooth comb. So I can state with absolute surety,
Surety?
no such smear of blood existed in that carriage. At least, not until this trial began.
But
Are you suggesting, Lord Van Zyx, that the stain of blood was...
Fabricated, my lord? Yes, and well, this court has been in session.
what?
What a palaver. I must say, I didn't expect such crude reasoning from a prosecutor your standing, Lord Van Zyx. But I'm Magnus McGilded, a fellow known all over the capital for his fine contributions to public life. I don't take kindly to slander, and I'll fight it to the bitter end. Even if it's rolling off the tongue of the Reaper of the Bailey.
Mr. McGilded, I realize that this is your first appearance in court as the accused. However, I am well aware of your involvement behind the scenes in a great many affairs of dubious nature. You're very adept when it comes to avoiding getting your own hands dirty. And each time it happens that a case you're involved in is investigated, you adapt the facts.
This is kind of crazy. I've just realized this. The man's wearing a pink suit. He's got the jewels on his hands. And it's literally an inverse of case 3. Would that be? I think that's case 2, actually, right? Case 2 of Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, like the first game, where we're trying to prosecute a super rich guy who's like immune from the law. I think Van Zyx might actually be in the right here.
Adapt the facts? What does that even mean?
When you wield a fortune the size of Mr. McGilded's, however ill-gotten it may be, nothing is impossible. Tampering with evidence, manipulating the scene of a crime, bribing witnesses. I toast your ability to concoct the most convenient of stories, sir.
Tut tut, Lord Van Zyx. This will not do, to be sure. Will it now, counsel?
Oh, no.
I think it's fair to say that this does all sound like a rather far-fetched excuse by a desperate man. The blood on the skylight didn't exist, you say? But if you'll all cast your minds back, is it not true that the omnibus there has been in the courtroom the entire time? How could anyone have possibly put a smear of blood in it without the world and his wife seeing? Isn't that right now, counsel?
Well, I certainly didn't do it, so it's true. The omnibus has been in full view the entire time the court has been in session.
My learned friend. Here's to hearing your opinion on this matter, in your own words.
I guess maybe when the bailiff opened it, that would be the only chance.
As you wish. Could someone have tampered with the omnibus during this trial? If you're asking me, I think...
Am I gonna say it? I mean, I kind of feel like maybe I should. because the bailiff opened it. So there's a chance all he'd have to have is like a packet in his hand, right? Or like a rag or something. And also, I think probably more likely what Van Zykes is getting at is that we did it, but we didn't, obviously. It would make a lot of sense if we did, though. But we didn't. Am I going to do it? Yeah, I'm going to do it. Let's see what happens.
As a defense lawyer, it's my job to advocate for the defendant as best I can. But still, I feel as though there's something even more important at stake here. There's no evidence to suggest the defendant did as my learned friend suggests. However, in terms of having opportunity to carry out the alleged tampering, there is one possibility.
Oh?
Good gracious. Explain yourself, counsel.
Yes, there is. It seems my learned Nipponese friend has no intention of running from this deceit.
Deceit?
I'm sure everyone still remembers clearly. The recess that we were forced to take.
Okay, that too. Sure, why not?
As a result of the smoke grenade fired by the witness currently on the stand, Miss Gina Lestrade.
No, he was on the stand too, which means the omnibus is right behind him.
What's going on?
Be careful, Mr. Naruhodo. Cover your face.
Bailiff, don't let the accused escape. Secure the omnibus.
Hereby call an emergency recess. Bailiff and the defendant is in custody.
The courtroom was filled with smoke, and everyone was thrown into confusion. All of us were made to leave this chamber. In that brief interval, under the veil of smoke and in all the chaos, it could have been possible to steal inside the omnibus.
Are you wise? What are you trying to pull, you rotten feckless gouger?
Feckless? Really? They got away with that?
Feckless gouger?
You're supposed to be defending me. This wicked plot, 'tis a play to undermine me, so it is.
Whatever you think this is, it changes nothing. The facts, they are the same. After this courtroom was evacuated earlier as a result of the smoke grenade, a number of inconsistencies materialized in relation to the omnibus.
Inconsistencies? Such as?
To start with, the storage compartment underneath the rear passenger seat. When the police investigated the omnibus, this compartment was full of the driver's items. Secondly, we have the smear of blood on the edge of the skylight. As I've said, that was not present at the start of the trial this morning.
Unfortunately, Lord Van Zykes, no one is able to corroborate your claims.
What about all the police at Scotland Yard? Call them in. Is Hokusanaga there? I'm sure you could call him in as a witness.
That's true. When the omnibus was first wheeled out, both the storage compartment and the skylight were shut.
Accordingly, I'm afraid to say, we cannot establish with any certainty if this evidence is the result of tampering or not.
Indeed, my lord. No doubt there was not a single person who saw fit to verify such things.
What do you think?
Sorry?
About the omnibus? Is there anything else unusual about it?
I didn't mean to click that.
If I'm honest, I don't remember what I examined when I went.
Okay.
I can't verify this either way.
Thank you. I didn't mean to click that. Okay, sorry. I'll read again.
A mark that surely could not have been present at the start of the trial.
What?
Miss Asado, what are you doing?
I examined the omnibus with you, don't forget. There's something that seems out of place compared to how the carriage looked originally. That's what we need to identify now.
What in the devil's name are you gonna say now? If you dare betray me, you little maggot.
Okay, I didn't get to read all that because I was enunciating, but hey.
Silence, McGilded. The court awaits the defense's clarification.
This trial keeps swinging one way then the other. I have no idea what's the truth and what's deception. What am I supposed to believe here?
I shall have to ask you to elaborate, counsel. What exactly is this alleged mark you claim appeared at some point during the trial?
Is it not this on the floor? It's gotta be, right? I don't... Oh, it looks fresher, too. Yeah, it does look fresher. Okay, it's gotta be this.
If we consider the victim fell through the skylight onto the floor of the cabin, you would certainly expect to find signs of blood where he landed. But, as far as I recall, this bloodstain on the cabin floor wasn't there when the omnibus was first brought into the courtroom.
Good Lord! Yes, I do believe you're correct, counsel.
Well said. Although, as advocate for the defense, one might say that was a very careless slip of the tongue.
Yeah, me too.
I believe that bloodstain on the floor is a decisive piece of evidence. But, if the question is whether that evidence is genuine, or whether it was unlawfully fabricated by someone else, I feel compelled to admit there's at least a possibility that the evidence is fake.
Now he's clearing me? I'm confused.
Yeah, okay, he's got way too many poses for this. He's definitely guilty.
This trial is over.
Mr. McGilded?
I've done everything I possibly can to cooperate with the court, but 'tis all over now.
But you're the defendant.
It is over, I tell you.
That's gotta hurt. That ring just pounding. Okay.
Memory, recollection, what people think they saw, 'tis all nonsense. Facts are what counts, and the fact is, that bloodstain is there, now.
Well,
And over the course of this desperate trial, long and extremely drawn out as it's been,
Even Gina's like,
that good-for-nothing Reaper the Bailey has failed to present any decisive evidence at all. I'm scandalized, so I am, and I thought better of Lord Van Zyke's. Well, my lord...
I must concur with the defendant. The unaffirmed recollections of an individual cannot stand as evidence. At this moment in time, the particular bloodstain in question is very much in existence, and in the absence of any credible method by which to prove its alleged previous non-existence, I regret to say it would be improper for this trial to continue.
your lordship can't be serious.
Lord Van Zykes, what is your position?
The prosecution, my lord, has no further witnesses or evidence to present.
Very well. In that case, as I believe we have explored every possible avenue in this matter, I shall proceed to my adjudication. And, as a formality, I am of course obliged to confirm with the defense first.
What formality?
As things stand at the moment, it would seem that Mr. McGilded will be found not guilty.
Yes.
Which would mean we've won.
Is that really the right outcome here? Is it really alright for the trial to come to an end now, with all these unexplained inconsistencies?
Counsel for the defense, your closing statement, please.
Yes, my lord. The defense believes...
Take the wheel.
I'm here in this courtroom today to advocate for the defense of my client, Mr. McGilded. However, at this moment in time, I cannot in all good conscience attest fully to the defendant's innocence.
What are you saying, man?
Without any question, there's no conclusive evidence to prove the defendant is guilty. However, there's also no conclusive evidence to prove he's innocent.
Good gracious me! Order! This is unprecedented behavior, counsel. A defense lawyer calling the accused innocence into question? Are you of sound mind?
'Twas a grand decision to appoint you as my lawyer, so it was. A grand decision.
What?
I must say, I didn't expect quite such...
Okay, that's... just assume it works.
I didn't expect quite such an exciting spectacle at the end there, but still. Here, have this for your troubles. Your job here's done, fella, and some fine work you've done, so you have.
What do you mean?
'Tis just the right honorable gentleman so succinctly put it before. The trial can't go on any more. And your closing statement there was, how'd he put it now, nothing more than a formality.
The evil chuckle.
I really don't know what to make of all this. Was the evidence we've seen genuine, or was it fake?
His lordship would be fuming, and unsightly rubbish would be disposed of promptly, as I said.
Clickety, 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 clack.
The stinkin' rich are always guilty of something. Yeah, mark my words. I feel terribly ashamed that I ever doubted that lovely man who gave us the lovely park.
Now that proceedings have unfolded in this way, I am compelled to declare a premature end to this trial. Furthermore, the court must accept the defendant's plea.
I thank you very kindly.
I can't say. It's just what he would say, alright?
I thank you kindly, my lord.
I hereby pronounce the verdict of this court.
But we still haven't determined if the bloodstain in the omnibus is genuine or not. We don't know if these witnesses are telling the truth or a pack of lies. We have no idea about the truth.
Lord Van Zykes.
My lord?
The case made by the prosecution is flawed, plain and simple. If indeed the omnibus presented as evidence was tampered with, the prosecution is at fault for allowing such a disgraceful perversion of justice to take place.
My sincerest apologies, my lord.
But wait! When we were evacuated from the courtroom, Van Zykes ordered the evidence to be secured.
I'm afraid the prosecution cannot shun responsibility in this matter.
That's so unfair.
The culpability of the defendant has not, at the present time, been established by this court. Consequently, the jury will not be required to prefer judgment.
What?
Well, Lord Van Zykes, it's been a pleasure, so it has. And as for you, my dear fella, I couldn't have asked for a better defense.
What do you mean to tell me this has all been a grand waste of time?
'Tis the law of the land, my good man. If you'd like to pursue this matter further, you can always go ahead and try to change the law.
Magnus McGilded.
Good grief, you've more to say to me, have you?
Just one thing. A warning. This is far from over.
Well, something to be looking forward to then.
I hereby pronounce the defendant, Mr. Magnus McGilded.
No! Nobody's getting punished in this game. What is the point of my struggles? Yay, we did it.
I can't believe it.
This is an outrage. They should have examined the evidence more.
What are you talking about? The man's been cleared. He's innocent.
With the courtroom in pandemonium for the second time that day, the judge delivered his verdict, and my first ever trial in Great Britain came to an abrupt end. With the defendant being found not guilty, ostensibly, it's a victory for us. The Old Bailey.
That certainly was a long trial.
Yes, it was.
Your first ever trial on foreign soil, and your first victory. It was a wonderful performance. My heartfelt congratulations.
And to you, Mrs. Sato, thank you for your assistance. I suppose we should be happy. The trouble is, we're still completely in the dark about what actually happened.
Well, we didn't have enough time.
But isn't that wrong? I mean, who was actually responsible for Mr. Mason's death? We don't even know that.
The sole aim of the defense is to obtain a verdict that exonerates the defendant. You carried out your duty to perfection.
Ah, that you did.
Gina's there, she's just like, Mr. McGill did? Oh, and that girl is with him too.
Well, seems the stories are true.
Oh, what stories?
About the 6 enormous fireworks they do be letting off when there's a verdict of not guilty. I'm sure you must have seen them now. Spectacular, wouldn't you say?
Yes, definitely. And a fire hazard. Especially with all that confetti they're putting everywhere. It's like they're trying to burn the place down.
I've heard it was a sight to behold, and so sure it was. And I've got you to thank, I suppose, for having an opportunity to see it.
Oh, I don't know about that. I'm not really sure I did anything.
What on earth are you saying, fella? How did I walk out there a free man, then?
I don't think it was so much thanks to me as down to your planning.
You're a straight-talking fella, ain't you? I must say, you had me ass straight. I thought they said ashtray for it. You had me astray in the head there once or twice. But you're young and headstrong. 'Tis water under the bridge. Congratulations, Mr. McGilded, on having your name cleared.
But nothing's resolved.
This isn't the Great Ace Attorney Resolve, Mr. Naruhodo there. This is Great Ace Attorney Adventures. There's only one thing that matters to me.
Oh?
They've all seen that I didn't do that odious and abstinent deed. 'Tis grand, is it not?
I suppose it is.
Now, the 5 fellas of Scotland Yard can take matters in hand and sort out all the wee details. They'll see it for what it is. They'll get to the truth. I've absolute faith in them, so I have. After all, I do be providing a good number of their wages with all them taxes I pay.
It's not that funny.
So then, as we agreed aforehand, 1,000 guineas for your troubles, fella.
Oh, no. I couldn't possibly accept that much.
Ah, you be whist. You're humble people, are you? You from the East? Well, if you insist. But have this, still and all. You deserve a reward.
Mr. Magnus McGilded. Everything is ready, sir. If you'd like to follow me into the courtroom.
Into the courtroom?
What's this, officer? 'Tis sooner than I was led to believe.
I hope it's not inconvenient, sir. There were some changes in the schedule.
Well, I must be making tracks now. 'Tis time for the inspection.
Sorry? What inspection?
They're gonna examine the omnibus again, so I'm told. I asked if I could be present for it myself. They're going to examine it again? Now? Naturally, I'm under no obligation to take part in any more of this matter now, but as an upstanding member of London society, I do be doing my best to help wherever I can. 'Tis a gentleman's duty, so it is. So then, fare thee well. 'Twas an absolute pleasure meeting yez. I hope you have a whale of a time while you're studying here in Great Britain.
We gotta peek in there and see what he's up to. There he goes, a free man.
Hey, Gina.
Oh, I forgot she was here too.
Don't shoot me, please. It's not that serious. Don't move!
Whereas I want to say, get a move on. It really does take forever to load that thing. Miss Lestrade, would you mind putting that down?
You're a grown-up,
Sorry?
and I all grown-ups.
No, there you are.
Oh, never mind.
Ah, there you are. Naughty, naughty, running off like that.
Is this some kind of picnic? Who's this little girl now?
And taking that with you as well. I was looking forward to the trial run of my experimental smoke grenade launcher. Here.
Oh, no.
Oh, you want to play? You won't beat me. Ugh.
Excuse me, but who are you?
Oh, good day to you. I'm, well, the inventor, I suppose, of that machine.
The inventor?
Well, normally smoke grenades are so dull, don't you agree? White, white, and more white. If you have been shrouded in smoke, it could at least be a pretty color, I thought to myself.
Do we have to be shrouded in smoke, though? At all?
I just took my eyes off it for a moment while I was changing into a different omnibus and she pinched it. Luckily, I fitted it with a telegraphic beacon.
What? I have no idea what this girl is talking about. Also, doesn't that require wires?
Anyway, you're coming with me now, back to my laboratory.
What? What for?
To apologize, of course, silly, to my technician.
What?
You mean, say sorry? You must say sorry when you've done something wrong. Surely an adult's told you that before.
An adult? Huh. I don't listen to no adults.
Come along then, follow me.
Fine, have it your way.
Oh, good. You see, I knew you'd want to do the right thing in the end, especially when I point my bazooka in your face.
I'm fairly sure what she wants to do is knock you shut by that massive gun you have.
The curtsy.
We'll be leaving now then. Bye-bye. I'm so sorry for all the fuss.
Okay, well, we don't get to talk to Gina either. Great.
She was a lively one.
Well, do you think perhaps we ought to be on our way now too?
Yes, you're right, but where to?
Oh,
We haven't had time to find a place to stay. No sooner had we arrived in London than we had to rush here. All our traveling cases are still with the bailiff.
I was originally planning to spend today in search of lodgings.
But at this late hour in the day, I'm afraid we may be out of luck.
Don't worry though, I have a plan. If the worst comes to worst, I've heard of a lovely park where we could spend the night.
Please tell me you're not thinking of McGilded Park.
I know it may be a little chilly this time of year, but our youthfulness will see us through.
Did you see Beppo? He was breathing ice.
I'm not so sure about that. I think a midwinter London night will freeze a young person solid just as easily as an elderly one.
Oh dear, that doesn't sound agreeable.
Don't cry. Now I'm starting to regret turning Mr. McGilded down. That 1,000 guineas would have paid for a lovely warm room, or mansion. And so, the trial to determine my worthiness for the study tour was over by the end of our first day in London. However, as we were soon to learn, there were more trying times ahead. Just as the Reaper of the Bailey had warned, the case was far from over.
The chase. Is McGilded gonna get McKilded?
Wow. Convenient.
How did this happen?
Who's that? Is that Lestrade?
By the time I got here, it was already engulfed. No one was supposed to be allowed in here before we started investigating.
Uh-oh.
Oh, good God. There's someone in there.
It's Santa Claus! Okay, well, McGilded probably died.
This can't be.
Dracula's got his cape back on. He's like,
This is totally expected, honestly.
who could be in there if it's not McGilded? I don't know. At least it's not Gina. The realm of the Reaper. Well, I guess that's it. Maybe we'll watch maybe that is the intro cutscene for the next chapter. The Adventure of the Clouded Kokoro. Oh no! I think I already made that joke, so I won't say anything. But hey, there's Herlock. So we're going to actually investigate, huh? So is that really how it's going to be? I'm kind of disappointed in that, in all honesty, of there not being investigations and trials in the same thing. But I don't know. Get through this, and I'm assuming there's going to be like a full thing in the sequel, perhaps. I don't know. It is called Resolve, so maybe it'll help us resolve some matters. Okay. Well, if you did make it this far, comment in the comment section. What does she have? Are they like panda slippers? I don't remember what Kokoro wears. She's got like slippers though. I know that for sure. Comment, well, she does have the lab coat. Comment brain. Sure, that'll work. Brain, if you made it this far. And then also like and subscribe. All right, I will see you guys soon on Wednesday for Mori. It will be good. I'm going to be talking British for the rest of the night, I think. All right, well, see you later. Bye.